dear students. I am Dr. Shikha Pandey, Associate Professor from Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. Today I am going to discuss about the definition and terminology related with the module number 4. Module name is Environmental Pollution, then Environment Pollution Control Technologies and Global Environmental Problem. So let's start this lecture with the basic terminology related with this topic is define the term pollution. Pollution, first of all, what thing everyone coming in the mind is what is pollution. This is the very basics of this module, like define the term pollution. So we can say that pollution can be defined as any unfavorable or alternation or any undesirable change in the undesirable means that is not fit for anybody. Undesirable alteration or change in the environment that will be caused by human activity or that will be harmful to the human beings is called as pollution. Means pollution, we can define it as like an undesirable change in the physical, chemical or biological properties of anything, either air, water, soil, is called as pollution, and that will be harmful for the human being is called as pollution. It is an undesirable change or an unfavorable or an alteration in the quality of air, water, soil is called as pollution, and it is mainly caused by the human activity or sometimes it is natural also. So this is about the pollution. Now next is what is air pollution. So the imbalance or unfavorable change in the quality of air so as to cause adverse effects on the living organism that is existing on the earth. Pollution is due to presence of undesirable substances of sufficient quantity which exist in the environment is called as air pollution. Means air pollution, we can define it as any undesirable change in the physical, chemical or biological properties of air that will be unfavorable and that will be harmful for a human being is called as air pollution. So the imbalance or unfavorable change or alteration on the quality of air, and so that will be causes adverse effect on the living organism that is existing on the earth is called as air pollution. So pollution is due to the presence of undesirable substances of sufficient quantity that exist in the environment. Means it is the presence of any undesirable substance of sufficient quantity. Means any substance that is undesirable, that is not desirable, that is not perfect, that is not good, and it is present in a more quantity that is exist in the environment, and that will change, that will alter the quality of air, water or soil is called as air pollution, and that will be harmful as in terms of physical, chemical or biological is called as air pollution. So the imbalance, the basic terminology, we can define it, the air pollution is like the imbalance in quality of air is to cause adverse effect on the living organism that is existing on the earth is called as air pollution. Means any unfavorable change or any undesirable change that will be harmful for the living organism that is living on the earth is called as air pollution. And it is due to the presence of any undesirable substance of sufficient quantity that exists in the environment. Next term is about what is pollutant and how we can classify the pollutant. So first of all, pollutant are the substances or energy which causes pollution is called as pollutant. Pollutant are those agents or those things that causes pollution is called as pollutant. We can define pollutant in a very simple way, that is those agent or those substance or those energy that is causing pollution is called as pollutant. And there are basically two types of pollutant. When we talk about the origin of pollutant, there are mainly two types of pollutant, primary pollutant and secondary pollutant. So we understand the term pollutant are those things. Pollutant is equal to those they are polluting. They are polluting. And it is of two types, primary and secondary. Primary and secondary. Primary pollutant and secondary pollutant. So pollutant or energy which causes pollution is called as pollutant. Those substance or energy, those things, those any agent that is causing pollution, anything that is causing pollution, we can say that is a pollutant. Particular environment. In case of air, SOx, NOx is the pollutant. In case of water pollution, we can say that the sewage, the So silt and the dirty water all are pollutant. In case of soil pollution, the runoff from agriculture, pesticides, chemicals, all are pollutant. So means any agent that is causing pollution is called as pollutant, and on the basis of its origin, it is divided into two categories. First one is the primary pollutant, and next is the secondary pollutant. Now next thing is like define the term primary pollutant. Now we'll come on the topic that is primary pollutant. What is primary pollutant? Means, as we already understand the term pollutant. Pollutant are those agents or those things that is causing pollution. So it is of two types, primary pollutant and secondary pollutant. So primary pollutant, define the term primary pollutant. So pollutants that are emitted directly from any identifiable source are produced by both sometimes natural events or by human activity are called as primary pollutant. Means that emitted directly from any identifiable source like carbon monoxide. As we know, carbon monoxide is coming from vehicle. SOx, NOx is coming from sometimes a factory or industry. So they can be identifiable source, means their source we know that they are emitted directly from any identifiable source is called as primary pollutant. Pollutant that emitted directly from any identifiable source is called as primary pollutant. Next is like a secondary pollutant. So the examples of primary pollutants are SOx, NOx, carbon monoxide. SOx, NOx we know that is emitting from the industries, any thermal power plant, and carbon monoxide is coming from the vehicles also. So their source, they are directly emitting from any source, and their source we can identify is called as primary pollutant. Next is secondary pollutant. Pollutant that are produced in the atmosphere when certain chemical reaction takes place among the primary pollutant. Means any chemical reaction will take place among the primary pollutant is called as secondary pollutants. Means that will be happen within with a certain chemical reaction that will be taken place by among the reaction between two primary pollutant is called as secondary pollutant. Secondary pollutant we can define it as like the reaction or some chemical reaction happen between two primary pollutant and the next product will be formed is called as secondary pollutant. And the example for secondary pollutant is the sulfuric acid, H2SO4, nitric acid, HNO3 and the carbonic acid and the PAN. As we know, PAN is the peroxyacyl nitrate. So this is the secondary pollutant. Secondary pollutant we can say that's sulfuric acid, nitric acid. They both are secondary pollutant in case of acid rain. When we know the term acid rain is what? It is the rain of acids. So what will happen, and it will containing some concentrated acid like H2SO4 and HNO3. So they both are concentrated acid, H2SO4 and HNO3. H2SO4 is a sulfuric acid and HNO3 is a nitric acid. So these are the secondary pollutant, means that will be formed by a chemical reaction between two primary pollutant. Like that PAN is there, peroxyacyl nitrate. PAN is also a secondary pollutant. Now next thing, the sources of air pollution. What are the natural sources of air pollution? When it will talk about the pollution or air pollution, for air pollution some natural sources is also there. So the air pollution natural sources volcanic activities, forest fire and pollen grains of flower. So pollen grains of flower are the aeroallergens. These are aeroallergens that is present in the atmosphere. Then volcanic eruption, that is volcanic activity. And then forest fire. So these are the natural things that will be producing some pollution that will be harmful to the air. So they are the natural sources of air pollution. That is, first one is the volcanic activities, forest fire and pollen grains of flower. All these are the natural sources of air pollution. Now comes to the next topic, the next term, that is PAN. We have already discussed that the PAN is a secondary air pollutant. So how this PAN is formed and what is PAN? PAN is a very important question. Like PAN is we can say that it is a peroxyacyl nitrate, and it is the most characteristic photooxidants of a range of secondary pollutant that is formed by photochemical reaction of hydrocarbon with nitrogen oxide in the atmosphere. Means PAN is formed by the reaction of hydrocarbons plus nitrous oxide. Means hydrocarbons is there. Hydrocarbons is a primary pollutant, and NOx is also a primary pollutant. That is, NOx is coming from vehicle pollutions. Hydrocarbons will get from combustion. So these two primary pollutant, after reaction between these two primary pollutant, one in the presence of photo accident, in the presence of sunlight, or that some photochemical reaction will happen, and that photochemical reaction will form one product, that is PAN, peroxyacyl nitrate. This is a very dangerous pollutant, and it is the most important secondary pollutant, as we have already discussed about the secondary pollutant. This is formed by the reaction between two primary pollutant in the presence of photochemical reaction. This is called as PAN. So next is the defined photochemical smoke. As we have already know, smoke is formed by the two words smoke plus fog. This is a very important terms in the in air pollution. Smoke is equal to smoke plus fog. When there is a combination of smoke with the fog, that is called as smoke. So photochemical smoke is a type of secondary pollutant that occurs due to the reaction among nitrogen oxide, volatile organic compounds and sunlight. This photochemical smoke is a type of secondary pollutant. Smoke is also a secondary pollutant. Photochemical smoke, as the name suggests, photo means light. We already know photo is equal to light. Photo is equal to light. So this photochemical smoke is a secondary pollutant, and that will form due to the reaction among nitrogen oxide, volatile organic compounds and sunlight. NOx, reaction of NOx with VOC in the presence of sunlight. That's why it named as photochemical smoke, and the product will be formed is called as peroxyacyl nitrate. So PAN is responsible for this photochemical smoke pollution. Smoke is a combination of a smoke plus fog, and it is a very dangerous kind of air pollution, and it is a secondary air pollution. So how this photochemical smoke this PAN is all responsible for this photochemical smoke. And photochemical smoke is that type of secondary pollutant which occurs due to the reaction among the nitrogen oxide, volatile organic compounds and sunlight. And the product in this reaction is the PAN, peroxyacyl nitrate. Next term is define the term aerosols. Aerosols is a suspension of fine liquid particles or liquid droplets in air or another gases. You can, an example of it is a spray in tin can is an example of aerosols. Aerosols is nothing but a suspension of fine liquid particles or solid particle that is droplet in the air or another gas is called as aerosols. Aerosol is a suspension of fine liquid or solid that will be formed liquid droplet in the air or sometimes with the another gas is called as aerosols. And example for aerosol, we can say that is sometimes spray is there in a tin can is an example for this aerosol. Next term is the ozone depletion. This is also related to the air pollution. What is ozone depletion? Define the term depletion of ozone. Ozone depletion is a very important question. We can also term it as a thinning of ozone layer. Thinning of ozone layer. Ozone layer, or sometimes a hole in the ozone layer. Hole in ozone layer. So this all term is related with this ozone depletion. Ozone depletion is a destruction of ozone in the stratosphere where it shields the earth from harmful ultraviolet radiation. And this destruction is caused by some chemical reaction in which oxides of hydrogen, nitrogen, chlorine and bromine act as a catalyst. So ozone depletion is nothing but a destruction of ozone layer in the stratosphere. In the stratosphere, ozone layer is there, and that destruction in the ozone layer where it shields the earth from harmful UV radiation, where it will be this ozone layer is present in the stratosphere. In the stratosphere, you can see this is the stratosphere and one layer is there. This layer is called as ozone layer. And this layer is acting as a shield with the harmful UV radiation. Means many UV radiation is there above the stratosphere. So what this ozone layer is do, they are acting as shield for this harmful UV radiation. So what will happen due to this air pollution, some CFC compound is there, chlorofluoro compound is there, and that is causing the destruction of the ozone layer used by some chemical reaction. And that chemical reaction will happen with the oxides of hydrogen, nitrogen, chlorine and bromine that will be acting as a catalyst. Sometimes this chlorine and bromine is acting as a catalyst and they are going to deplete the ozone layer that is present in the stratosphere. This is called as depletion of ozone. Is a destruction of ozone layer in the stratosphere. Ozone layer is there in the stratosphere. Some destruction is there, some hole is there. That harmful UV radiation is causing hole in the ozone layer, that is causing depletion in the ozone layer, and due to this ozone layer is getting destructed, and this destruction is caused by the chemical reaction which will be happen with the oxides of hydrogen, nitrogen, chlorine and bromine. All are acting as a catalyst in this ozone layer destruction. And this ozone layer is basically, destruction is basically caused by the chlorofluorocarbon. Chlorofluorocarbon, as we have already discussed in the lectures, chlorofluorocarbon, CFC. CFC is there. CFC is originating from our refrigerators. It is all this CFC is originating due to human activity, this is anthropogenic. And next is what is ozone depleting substances, means what are the substances that is depleting this ozone layer. Which substance is responsible for the depletion of ozone layer? So ozone layer depletion are the substances, they have some chemical reaction that destroy the Earth's protective ozone layer. Some chemical reaction will be happen in the stratosphere, and some gases will be formed like CFC, halogens, chlorofluorocarbon, CS3, CCl3. So these substances will be formed in the atmosphere, and these substances is all due to some chemical activity that will destroy the Earth's protective layer, that is called as ozone layer. So ozone layer depletion is caused by chlorofluorocarbon and halogens that are originating due to the industrial activity, anthropogenic activity and human activity, and refrigerator, fire extinguisher, AC we are using. So with all these electrical appliances, this kind of gases is originating in the stratosphere, and in the stratosphere they are depleting the ozone layer that is acting as a shield against some UV rays and some very dangerous harmful ultraviolet rays. Next question is about acid rain. Acid rain, what is acid rain? Means what is acid rain? We can say that rainwater that is acidic in nature is called as acid rain. If we'll understand this term in a very general manner, like rainwater that is containing some harmful concentrated acid is called as acid rain. Acid rain is the rain or any other form of precipitation that is usually acidic in nature, means that it has elevated level of hydrogen ions. Means those rains, H2O is there, and that will be mixed with some with the reaction that will be some acid will be there in the rainwater, that is called as acid rain. So what will happen if with the H2O is there, water is there, with the reaction between SOx or NOx, the next product will be formed. This product is either H2SO4 or HNO3. So H2SO4 means water is there, some SOx and NOx will be originating due to vehicular pollution, automobile pollution, or by some industrial activity. So this SOx and NOx will be formed, and these two primary pollutant will form a reaction with H2O, and then two type of secondary pollutant will be formed. That is, first one is the H2SO4 and HNO3. Means rainwater containing high concentration of H2SO4 or HNO3 is called as acid rain. And this acid rain is corroding the surface of Taj Mahal, and it is a very important case study that is related with this acid rain. This is called as acid rain. Means those rain that are usually acidic in nature is called as acid rain. Now, next question, next terminology related with this topic is define the term water pollution. Water pollution, we can define water pollution as the alteration in the physical, chemical and biological characteristic of water that will be unsuitable, unfavorable for the designated use in the natural state, or any contaminants which causes adverse change in the water quality is called as water pollution. Means alteration or undesirable change in any physical, chemical or biological characteristics of water that will be unsuitable or unfavorable for the use for the water, and that will be harmful for the living organism is called as water pollution. So we can define water pollution is like any undesirable change in the physical, chemical or biological properties of water, and that will be undesirable, that will be unsuitable for its use is called as that will be harmful for human being or any living organism that is associated with the use of water is called as water pollution. Next term related with this water pollution is define the term COD, chemical oxygen demand. COD means chemical oxygen demand. Chemical oxygen demand means basically these two words is related with the water pollution. Means first one is the chemical oxygen demand. It is an indicative measure of the amount of oxygen that can be consumed by reaction in a measured solution. Means what will happen? Chemical oxygen demand means the demand of oxygen by any microorganism for their activity, for their daily activity to decompose the organic material that is present in the water. That organic is the water pollutant. Organic is there, organic substance is there, that is water pollutant. So the amount of oxygen that is needed by a particular organism to degrade that organic material into the water is called as chemical oxygen demand. Means that demand of oxygen, that amount of oxygen that is needed by an organism, by a microorganism to degrade the organic materials in the water is called as chemical oxygen demand. Means oxygen demand for the chemical activity by the microorganism for the degradation of organic materials that is present in water is called as chemical oxygen demand. So we can understand water pollution by these two things, COD and BOD. COD is chemical oxygen demand, BOD is biological oxygen demand. So COD, if the amount of oxygen demand is more by the microorganism, that means the pollution is more, organic material is more. So this is an indicative for the water pollution. We can say that will be an indicative term for the water pollution. Next point is related with the water is the BOD. BOD is the biochemical oxygen demand. It is again the amount of dissolved oxygen needed by the aerobic biological organism to break down organic material present in a given water sample at a certain temperature over a specific period of time. Means in 5 days and 20 degrees Celsius. This is the basic criteria for this biological chemical oxygen demand, BOD, biological oxygen demand. So that amount of dissolved oxygen that is needed by an aerobic bacteria, aerobic organism to break down organic material into the given water sample at certain temperature or over a specific time period is called as BOD. BOD is the amount of dissolved oxygen that is needed by an aerobic biological organism to break down organic material present in the given water sample at certain temperature over a specific time period is called as BOD. Next is what are the pollutant of water? As we have already discussed, like what does it mean by pollutant? Pollutant are those agents that is causing pollution. Pollutants is equal to those agents that are causing pollution. Pollution is called as pollutant. So the pollutant of water is the some sewage is there, industrial effluents, synthetic detergent, agrochemicals and oil. Means sewage is there, that is dirty water, that is water that is originating from our daily activity is called as sewage. So sewage is there. Industrial effluent means effluent that is thrown out from the industries. Next is some synthetic detergents we are using for our washing purpose. Agrochemicals means those pesticides or chemical substances, chemical fertilizers that are using in the agriculture activities. Next is the oil. They are the common air pollutant, water pollutants. They are the main water pollutants. Next term is what is eutrophication. Eutrophication is the large proportion of nitrogen and phosphorus used in the crop field is washed off, and along with runoff water that reaches the water body, and that nitrogen and phosphorus will causing overnourishment of the lake is known as the eutrophication lake. That lake is called a eutrophic lake. Eutrophic lake. Eutrophic lake. So a large proportion of nitrogen and phosphorus is used in the crops, in the agricultural activity, and then that will be washed off along with runoff water, and that reaches the water bodies, that is causing overnourishment of the lakes, and the process is called as eutrophication. Next is the term that is related with this eutrophication, that is algal bloom or water bloom. This is a very important term that will be asked in many examinations, like what is algal bloom or water bloom? Algal bloom is the bloom of algae, that is rapid increase or accumulation of population of algae in fresh water or sometimes marine water system. So due to the runoff from agriculture runoff, extra nitrogen and phosphorus will enter into the water, and that will be provide nourishment to the algae that is already present, and due to more nourishment, some excessive growth and rapid growth of the algae is there, and due to this population growth, algae, freshwater and marine water system, green color is there, that is called as water bloom or algal bloom. That is the if we understand in a basic term, like more rapid increase in the accumulation of population of algae is called as algal bloom. Means more increase in the population of algae is known as algal bloom. And algal bloom, in sometime it will happen in fresh water or sometime it will happen in marine water. Means the excessive growth or rapid increase in the accumulation of the population of algae due to some nutrients, overnourishment due to some nutrient like nitrogen and phosphorus, that is called as algal growth or algal bloom. Now the term Minamata disease. Minamata disease is the disease that is caused by methyl mercury. Methyl mercury, CH3Hg is there. And what will happen, this methyl mercury is a very poisonous, and with the neurological system is there, and it is caused by daily consumption of large quantities of fish, shellfish that were heavily contaminated with the toxic chemicals generated in chemical factories and then discharged into the sea. This is again a case of, we have already talked about biomagnification. Due to biomagnification of chemicals into the fishes, and then fish is eaten by the man, methyl mercury will enter into the human body, and this methyl mercury is a very dangerous substance that is causing poisoning with the neurological symptom and caused by daily consumption of large quantity of fish, seafoods, and that fish and seafood will be contaminated with the toxic chemicals, and these chemical is generated from the factories, and they are discharging this chemical directly into the sea. Due to this activity, this methyl mercury will enter into the fish body, and the person who are consuming the fish at a large amount or in daily intake, maybe that person will be affected by this Minamata disease. Next is the blue baby syndrome. Blue baby syndrome is due to the nitrate. When nitrate present in excess in the drinking water, that is causing blue baby syndrome. This will happen when there is not enough oxygen into the blood, and one condition will be formed. That condition is called as methamonoglobinemia. Is a condition that some baby are born with congenital or some develop early in life. What will happen? Nitrate, if due to drinking water, nitrate is there in water. When excess of nitrate is in water, that will be causes to infants that their nitrate amount in the body is increases, and there is not enough oxygen in the blood. In this way, the body is turned totally blue. That's why this is called as blue baby syndrome. And the condition will form like methanoglobia condition is there, in which some baby are born with a congenital issue or they have developed some early life activities. Next is the term that is fluorosis. Fluorosis is caused by deposition of fluorides in the hard and soft tissue of the bone. And all these diseases are related with the water pollution only. Due to water pollution only. So fluorosis is happen by drinking water which will contain fluoride. fluoride is there. If drinking water, fluoride is present in more amount, then fluorosis condition will be formed, and it is the deposition of fluorides in the hard and soft tissues of the body. On the hard and soft tissues of a human body, this fluoride is deposited, and all due to the drinking of dirty water containing fluoride. See, this kind of condition will be formed on the teeth of a people. You can see that yellow spot is there. This is the reason. This is the symptom of fluorosis. Now, next is a term related with the pollution of soil pollution. What is soil pollution? Soil pollution is a presence of some toxic chemicals in the soil in high amounts, that in high concentration, to pose a risk to human health. And this soil pollution refers to the contamination of soil with anomalous concentration of toxic substances like toxic metal, heavy metals, toxic metals like arsenic, mercury, zinc, lead, nickel. All these toxic chemicals will enter into the soil, and that will be risk to human health is called as soil pollution. Presence of any toxic chemical in the soil in a more concentration that will be causes risk to a human health is called as soil pollution. Soil pollution refers to the contamination of soil with anomalous concentration of toxic substances is called as soil pollution. Next term is the noise pollution. What does mean by the term noise pollution? So the unpleasant and unwanted sound that may lead to adverse effect in the human body is causing as noise pollution. Means pollution of noise like unpleasant or unwanted sound that may lead to adverse effect. Like sometimes it will affect to the central nervous system. Sometimes it will cause a heart attack, heart pain is there. So the noise that is more amount that will be unbearable or unpleasant, that will be unwanted, and that will be causing some bad effect in the human being is called as noise pollution. So sources of noise pollution is of two types. First one is the stationary source and then mobile source. Stationary source is that source that are present at the one place, and mobile source is like those sources that is moving. So the stationary source, the example for stationary source are like some noise from the industries, noise from construction activity, noise from some sources. That source is already there, means any highway work, high construction activity. These kind of sources is called a stationary source. And mobile source means those that is like horns from vehicles. You can say that this is a mobile source of noise pollution. Now next topic is the next term is the define the term oil spill. So oil spill is again related with the water pollution or sometimes soil pollution. So oil spill is a discharge of oil accidentally or intentionally that float on the surface of water bodies as a discrete mass and is carried by wind, currents and tides. Oil spill is a discharge of oils into the aquatic system, sometimes in the marine system also, and that will be present in the float on the surface of water as a discrete mass, and it is carried by wind and ocean currents and wind tides to one place to another place. And this oil spill, sometimes what will happen due to the transportation of oil on the large boat, some spill is there, and due to this spill that oil is present in the water, and degradation of this oil is very tough, and this is very much dangerous for the aquatic life. Sometimes it will be clogged on to the fins of many birds. This is the harmful effect of this oil spill. Next topic and point is the define the term organic farming. So organic farming is a production system which avoid or surely largely excludes the use of synthetic compound like fertilizer, pesticides, growth regulator, genetic modified organism and livestock food additives. Means organic farming is the farming that is totally organic in nature. Organic in nature means no chemicals are involved. Organic in nature, no chemicals are involved. No chemicals is there in the form of, no chemicals is there either in the form of pesticides, genetically modified crop is there, or anything, some growth regulator is there, a fertilizer is there, nothing, only organic manure is there. And that kind of production, that kind of farming, that will be largely used to, and that is excluding the use of all synthetic compounds, all chemicals compounds like pesticides, and no any growth regulator will be involved, no genetically modified crop is there or any livestock food additive is there. It is called as organic farming. This organic farming is a very healthy farming, and nowadays people are practicing this farming to obtain food that is free from pollutants. It's called as organic farming. So these are the definition terminology related with this topic, environmental pollution part 1. Thank you for today's lecture.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.